We started looking at this back in March of last year, and quickly saw the value in the online collaboration aspects of the cloud in the Google Apps environment. And that was really the biggest thing that pushed us off of looking at it, at what we currently use, which was the Office Suite. But when we got into the business case, we really looked at three major things. First was lower IT costs. Was it cheaper to operate in the cloud versus hosting our own applications within the data center for mail and so on, and fairly quickly determined that it was more cost effective, both in administrative support as well as licensing costs. The second aspect was for a small institution as the museum is, we're about 500 people, maintaining a complete environment is expensive because we don't scale. So not maintaining that support and also having a platform that I don't have to upgrade every time a new upgrade comes out, which is a very labor intensive effort, was very important to us. And by moving to Google, I've completely moved out of that, but I've also bought into an ecosystem that's constantly evolving and improving. So the fact that I, one, don't have to maintain it, and two, it's being upgraded on a regular basis, not by me at no additional cost to me, was extremely important. And the third and the most important thing and the benefit that we realized about a year out was the online collaboration. It's fundamentally changed the way the institution works in a virtual sense, in the way we handle documents. There's no more attachments that we're pushing around for the people that are in Google Docs. And that, from beginning to end on a particular project or a task when you're working on something, is a huge time saver for people. I always know that I'm working on the most recent version. I'm not worried about making edits and then trying to collect edits from 10 other people, because it's online, it's there, I've got it, and it's been a huge, huge time saver. We had 3 work streams on the project. We had a technical work stream, we had a training work stream, and we had a communications work stream. So 2/3 of the project was really about managing change and how we get people off of where they are to a different place, in particular on mail. So we put an emphasis on communications, early communications, frequent communications. We did an early prototype that involved 100 staff, which was about 20% of the entire museum. We basically wanted to make sure that they saw the value in it, and if it didn't work out, then we would have probably have stopped at that point. It was a 3-month prototype phase, and that was followed by a 90-day, 3-month implementation phase. We've got very high up into the museum communications coming out, not from me, but from our chief of staff, saying that we've decided to make this change. So we got endorsement from senior management to do it, and then I had regular communication going out to the staff. But what we were worried about was leading up to the transition, because we did a hard cut. So October 31st, we flipped a switch, and the next day people came in and their old mail system was gone, and they're now in their new mail system. So we expected our help desk to be quite busy on that day, which of course they were, but the help desk wasn't going to be sufficient to support the cutover that we were going to do. So we deputized staff from across the institution, and they were called our Google Guides. And the guides received extra training. They were the local experts in each of the different offices and departments across the institution that were proficient, that could help their colleagues on the go live date. And in order to sort of make them visible, we did a couple things. We got banners outside of their offices that I'm a Google Guide. We got t-shirts that Google provided to us in green and red and yellow and blue, and so it was very colorful. They were very visible on the floor. And they were there, and they really kind of focused on the morning of the cutover date. And then at lunch, we had at lunchtime, we had a pizza lunch with all the guides. We had pictures taken. And so it was really a fun event for the staff. And they really took to it very well. They still, to this day, I see those posters outside their office. No, I was a Google guy. I'm not going to take that poster down. And so that was very helpful. But that was also preceded by a lot of online training, a lot of classroom training, and a lot of webinars that we did to get the people on board. Online collaboration is changed the way in which we work with documents, whether they be spreadsheets, presentations, whatever. But one example that I like to point out is our procurement process. And procurement in particular is a very paper-borne process. A lot of people involved, a lot of preparation of an RFP, solicitation, evaluation of proposals, and selection and so on. And we went from being entirely paper-borne to being entirely online. And we do now procurements with not a single printed document that we need through the entire solicitation, including the preparation phase as well as the distribution out on GSA, the receipt of electronic proposals. What this has done is allowed us to collaborate in real time in a much more efficient and effective way for the institution to operate. And also with a higher level of quality, because we're all working on the most recent version. We're not getting crossed versions, trying to sync those things up, trying to run around and get everybody to send us your attachments. And that idea of no attachments really does change the way in which we can do configuration management control over the documents, over the process. And it's been really helpful and been the biggest labor-saving really step in moving into the cloud and be able to collaborate online. I like the fact that I can bring up my iPad sitting on my couch at 7 o'clock in the evening and work on a document, put it down, and then go on to something else and get at my material and know that some of my colleagues that are maybe across the country can do the same thing asynchronously, and I can see what changes they're making. We can work on it at the same time. I can see who's logged into the document while I'm logged in. We're both editing simultaneously. We can be talking to each other. I'll be typing, they'll be correcting my typos, and so on. So it's just a fundamentally different way of working that being in the cloud has given us, and we've realized a lot of benefit from that.